Hello and welcome back to another episode of MLM Horror Stories. My name's Hannah and this is a series on my channel where I read the terrible, awful, horrific, sometimes funny experiences that people have had with multi-level marketing companies and their reps. There is no shortage of truly asinine things that happen in the industry of multi-level marketing, and I'm here to tell you those terrible tales. But before we get into those, I'm so excited to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, once again, the Paired app. Paired is an app designed to strengthen and deepen your connection with your partner through daily questions, games, quizzes, and exercises. The whole goal being to improve the happiness of couples and relationships. I will always take the opportunity to throw in the fact that me and my husband have been using the Paired app since December of 2021. This is months before I ever had sponsors on my channel. This is over a year before I ever had Paired as a sponsor on my channel. This is an app we have been genuinely using and loving for literally years, and I can't recommend it enough. The Paired app has carried us through early marriage, multiple military moves, welcoming our first baby, and now our first deployment. He does have Wi-Fi, so we're still able to be connected during this time, which I am so grateful for. There's tons of great features to explore on the Paired app. Our personal favorite are the daily questions, which pose a specific topic or scenario, and you have to answer for yourselves before you can unlock your partner's answers. But you're not limited to those daily questions. They've got a whole library of topics to choose from, such as communication, money and finances, sex and intimacy, conflict. And once you choose one of those topics, you can decide if you want to do a question, a quiz, a game. The games are super cute too. It's kind of like you're battling your partner to see who can get the most correct answers about your relationship. It's very competitive. But no matter what activity you choose, you're bound to uncover new things that you didn't know about your partner previously. It's been 2.5 years on the Paired app for us, and I swear I'm still surprised by my husband's answers sometimes. It's great for couples in any stage of their relationship. If you'd like to maintain and deepen connection with your partner, you can head to the link in the description box below to get a 7-day free trial plus 25% off Paired Premium. Thanks again, Paired, to your longtime support of the channel. Now let's get into these MLM horror stories. This story says, "Hi Hannah, I've been binging your MLM videos for a while now, and it got me thinking about something that happened to my family a few years ago. Unfortunately, I was pretty young while a lot of the formative portions of this story were going on, but it holds so many of the markers that you discuss in your video that I felt I wanted to share. For basically my whole life, my maternal grandparents have been on and off pretty restrictive diets, and they've always placed a high priority on being fit, in quotes, because they didn't really care about health, just being thin. And this has had a large impact on my family, especially my mom. They went back and forth on these different crash diets, and they were on some weird powdered foods back in the mid-2010s. A contextual note here is that they lived in a relatively wealthy suburb of DC at this time, and they went to a private practice for their general health care, which consisted of a husband and wife team. It was clear that the husband was the doctor, and I assumed that the wife worked as his assistant or something, because I didn't know what she would be doing in the practice otherwise if she was not a doctor, and I had seen similar setups in the past. These powdered foods they were on were apparently being recommended by the doctor, which I thought was weird, but I was a teenager, so I tried not to question it too much, especially because my grandparents would entertain no criticisms of their diets. This doctor's focus seemed to be exclusively on getting my grandparents to lose weight, which I didn't really think they needed to do as they were pretty old at this point, and I thought they should just focus on being healthy and well-nourished. But here's where the story really starts. In 2016, I think it's been a while, my grandfather had been experiencing pain in his shoulder for a few months, and he was brushing it off. We pestered him for a while to go to the doctor to get it checked out, and he eventually did. At the appointment, no imaging was done, but the doctor was thrilled that my grandfather had lost weight from the last time the doctor had seen him. My grandfather was also excited about this. We were kind of annoyed, but figured it was whatever if the doctor wasn't concerned. Plus, our grandpa did go to the gym a few times a week, so it could have been a related injury that just needed rest. Cut to a little while later, and the pain and discomfort was still present and not improving at all. We pushed grandpa to go back to the doctor, which he did. No imaging again, but he had once again lost weight, and the doctor was very happy about this. We, of course, were not, and basically had to force our grandpa to go to the hospital to get imaging done. I'm glad that your family pushed for him to go to the hospital, because to me, it sounds like if he's having this persistent shoulder pain and he's consistently losing weight in his old age, those two things together ring alarm bells for me, as I'm sure they did for your family members. And it's even more concerning that his doctor isn't concerned about that. Isn't that his entire job, to be concerned about the health conditions and to address them and to do everything in his power to figure out what's going on? If you have an elderly patient that comes to you and says that they have pain and they're losing weight unexpectedly, I feel like you don't even have to be a doctor to recognize that that's something that you should probably pay attention to. Very alarming that it seems like the doctor isn't doing his job to a degree. It turns out that he had a malignant tumor that had spread through his shoulder and into his lungs. It was cancer, and I believe he was at stage 3 at this point. We removed him from the care of that doctor, but the damage had been done. He deteriorated rapidly and ended up passing away in July of 2017. I am so sorry to hear that. I'm sure there's an added layer to it where members of your family are thinking, what if I did something sooner? What if I intervened? What if I pushed him to go to the doctor a little bit sooner? What if he didn't go to this doctor at all? There's a whole added layer of grief that goes along with that, and I'm so deeply sorry that your family is dealing with that. I'm sure you're seeing the connection here, but I will be explicit now that the full story has been laid out. Apparently, the wife was not an assistant at the practice. She was some kind of auxiliary weight loss consultant. Again, I'm lacking details because of time at this point, but your video tasting the nasty Optavia foods made a light bulb go off in my head. I have no idea if it actually was Optavia, but I think the wife must have been shilling MLM weight loss products. I tried some of the ones that my grandparents had at the time, cloyingly sweet fake smoothies and sad little soup packets. And her husband, my grandparents' doctor, was helping her pass them off to his patients. I don't really know how to end this story, so I'll just say thank you for what you do. Hopefully your videos and my story here can help others think about similar circumstances in their lives or the lives of their loved ones. Just hopefully not too late like me and my family. Again, sending all my love and condolences. I'm so sorry that your grandpa passed in this way. And regarding the doctor duo in this situation, I guess we should say the doctor and his wife, you actually did send me a follow-up email with a link to this practice's website, and I was able to kind of corroborate what you're saying about the fact that there is this husband-wife duo, they have this private practice, and although you did ask me not to share the link to their website and not to expose these doctors, which I will totally respect, I am going to show a couple screenshots from the website that I find particularly concerning. Here's a page on their website. It says our team, and you see photographed is Dr. James and his wife Mindy. I am blocking out their last names, but it says that Dr. James deals with internal medicine and his wife is a weight loss coach. That's her title. If you click on the wife's picture, it takes you to this web page that says, are you tired of dieting and regaining weight? I'm Coach Mindy and I understand. After years of dieting and regaining, I finally found my last diet, and you can too. Schedule a complimentary private consultation to learn about the ideal protein weight loss method. So in your story, you're heavily implying that you believe this to be Optavia, but this happened many years ago. I think you said you were a teenager or you were in high school or something at that time. You probably weren't paying much attention to what the name of the company was, but in your story, you're talking about these little packets of smoothies and soup mixes. Totally sounds like Optavia. And this language here that says ideal protein weight loss method is ringing an alarm bell for me, because the number one ingredient in most of Optavia's products is whey protein powder. That's kind of the way the Optavia program is designed to work. The portion sizes are extremely small, the calories are extremely low, but the protein is really high. And I think that's intentional to try and satiate you or keep you full without many calories or without much volume. And the fact that she's calling herself Coach Mindy is a red flag. When you join Optavia as a rep, as a salesperson, the name you're given is Coach. That's the terminology they use in the company. There's also a bullet here that says delicious food, traveler friendly. That to me is also a light bulb moment, because the Optavia fuelings, as they're called, are just packets of powder that you add water to. It's like astronaut food. It's absolutely travel friendly. And it also says that it's designed for busy people. That's totally a selling point of Optavia that they like to play on, because the diet is literally eat 6 fuelings a day. Pick your 6 packets, add water to it wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing. It takes like 2 minutes to blend it together or heat it up in the microwave or whatever, and then you're good to go. So they totally market it as something that is great for busy schedules. It is, of my personal opinion, my very confident personal opinion, that this is an Optavia coach. I would really be shocked if it was anything else. There are so many red flags about this. All signs point to Optavia. And this would not be the first story that I've heard of somebody in a professional healthcare setting using that position of power to sell an MLM supplement to their patients. This comes up in horror stories. This comes up in top fails all the time. And not just from Optavia either. So many different MLM companies do this. And they get away with it for so long because they do have credentials. They're a doctor in a doctor's office that you're going to see, and you have to assume that they have your best interests at heart. And unfortunately, some people do abuse that power and they use it to sell you something for their financial gain that you may or may not need and that may or may not actually help you. So in saying all of that, I'm very confident this is probably Optavia. I'm extremely appalled that something like this would happen where they're only concerned about the weight loss of their patients. Weight loss is not always a good thing. In your grandfather's case, to see a patient coming in and their scale weight is dropping, that's not automatically a good sign. We shouldn't be praising that. I have come to my own personal conclusions. You can arrive at your own personal conclusions, but I will say for legal purposes, everything here is alleged, which is another reason I'm not comfortable like linking their website or telling telling you the exact names of these people, because unlike other examples I've shown where it is the doctor themselves getting on the internet and telling the world that they sell MLM products to their patients, in that case, I would be comfortable showing their face and name. Here, for legal purposes, we kind of have to be a little bit more careful and acknowledge that this is a secondhand story and something that is being alleged to me here. However, I want you to know personally, the writer of the story, I completely believe you. And I would like for this to be a warning for all of their listeners that if you feel that something is not right in your own body, get a second opinion. If your doctor is recommending something to you that is not a pharmaceutical and it's also something that you have to pay for out of pocket, specifically using their link or their affiliate code, or like you have to go through the doctor themselves personally to get to this thing that they're trying to sell you, please, please, please do your own research on what the name of that company is and what the products are. And if you're in a similar position to this one where it's an elderly relative of yours, do exactly what happened in this story and be their advocate, push them to go to see somebody else. And if you notice that all of a sudden they're taking this new kind of supplement or they're eating a different way or they're doing something different to their routine, don't be afraid to do that research for them and to look up those products for them. Because again, this is not the first story I've heard of healthcare professionals taking advantage of the elderly and selling them something that ultimately is not good for them and it's not in the best interest of their health. Again, I am so sorry for your family's loss, but I really appreciate you sending in this story because it's definitely a cautionary tale that we can share, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned from it, so thank you for doing that. This next story says, Dear Hannah, my name is Olivia and you can use my name if you choose to share my story. I came across your channel because the algorithm thought I would like one of your influencer insanity videos, which I did. And I ended up clicking onto your anti-mlm videos after that. That is so exciting to hear. The influencer insanity series has brought a lot of new eyes to my channel, and I have been noticing that that has bumped up the performance of the anti-mlm videos as well. It's pretty cool to see that a byproduct, an unintended byproduct of the influencer insanity videos is that we're spreading the message of anti-mlm even further to a whole audience who may not have even known about it beforehand. So cool. Thanks for letting me know about that. Side note, the first anti-mlm video I watched was about Trades of Hope, which I was involved in as a compassionate entrepreneur, which is what they called their distributors as an older teen. I thought your comments were spot on. I love their mission and products, but the business model leaves something to be desired. However, I digress because my story is not about Trades of Hope, but about a different MLM, Arbonne. I've watched many of your videos and I really sympathize with many of the people who have written in sharing their involvement with an MLM, but thinking that they didn't have any horror stories until something random reminded them of an incident. That's exactly what happened to me a few minutes ago while watching your Arbonne deep dive video. I joined Arbonne in 2015. I was 20 and had just married my high school sweetheart. We ended up joining Arbonne under a good friend. I still really care about this friend who is a sweetheart and she truly believes she can help people with her business. Somewhere along the way, I decided to join Arbonne because I had high hopes of being able to stay home once we started a family. I was working in a low-paying ministry job while I was trying to figure out exactly what type of job I wanted to pursue and get a degree for. I'd also had terrible acne as a teen. I started eating clean and ended up trying the Arbonne Healthy Eating Challenge prior to my wedding and saw a difference in my skin and weight. I'd already been using the products prior to joining as a rep, and I figured I might as well get the discount and help my friend build her team. Honestly, I look back and I'm so embarrassed at all the people I reached out to try and sell them something. Thankfully, it wasn't a ton of people because I never wanted to be that girl who only used people for her own gain. Still, I was encouraged by one of the ladies in my upline to reach for the stars and share the dream. I once called my pastor's wife to get the phone number of their daughter-in-law, who I'd only ever met once in passing, because she was Taiwanese, and you guessed it, Arbonne had just announced they were opening in Taiwan, and it was an amazing ground floor opportunity for our team. I seriously don't know why I did that. Thankfully, the lady gave me enough signs that she wasn't interested and uncomfortable with me reaching out, and I only ever called her that one time. The whole reason I'm writing to you, though, is because you mentioned the nutrition supplements that Arbonne sells and the 30-day to healthy living challenge they offer. A memory resurfaced from the depths of my mind, and I was totally shocked at my behavior. At my job, a colleague had mentioned that her mom was going through a cancer diagnosis. I honestly don't remember what type of cancer, but I think it may have been liver cancer. I remember that at one of our many team meetings, the top earners in our area would often coach new recruits to think of anyone we knew that was walking through a health scare and to try and show them how Arbonne products could help them. Yikes! So there's entire entire trainings going on by the uplines in Arbonne, instructing you and teaching you how to seek out people that are struggling with their health so that you can sell them Arbonne. 1000% completely unsurprising. In fact, I have Zoom calls on my channel where we see this kind of thing happening. They gather everybody on the team together on a Zoom and they teach you about how to find new recruits and how to sell to people. And oftentimes one of the pain points they choose is find people who are struggling in some way, specifically with their health, and then convince them or talk them into buying our supplements as the cure to that or the fix to that. Can you say predatory? Can you say preying on people's vulnerabilities? Because that's exactly what's happening. And a lot of times people who are in MLM companies, they'll go, I'm not a predator. I'm not preying on people. What a terrible thing to say. What a terrible thing to accuse me of. And then they sit on Zoom calls like that. And then they are taught and instructed to go out there and be predatory. Oh, but I could never. How dare you say I'm preying on women, right? And you've already said it a couple of times in your story, but you're like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I thought that way. And that is where we have to extend grace to people who are in MLMs and attending these Zoom calls, because I totally understand how in the moment, it's not framed to you like you're trying to prey on people. It's framed to you like you're trying to help people. Like you have the solution. And if you have people in your life that are struggling, you want to do what you can to help. Like you're sharing the gift of the products or you're sharing the gift of the opportunity. And in my opinion, that's kind of what is regurgitated in MLM companies to help people sleep at night, to help people justify their actions. But I want to make it clear that I don't think that people who think this way are bad people inherently, because they're not. This experience that you're describing makes a lot of sense. You're in it, you're going through the motions, you're doing what you're told, you think you're doing the right thing, and then after the fact, years down the line, you're like, what was I doing? What was I thinking? And that's completely a testament to the mind control and the behavior control tactics that go on in MLMs. The undue influence that people are under when they're in an MLM company that they would not be under otherwise. So I just want to make sure to reiterate that we can extend people in MLMs some grace, some compassion, some understanding that perhaps they're doing things that they wouldn't otherwise be doing, and that they're not an inherently bad person for engaging in these kinds of behaviors. It's just a result of the environment they're in, and it's a lot easier to see how it's problematic once you're removed from it. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but Arbonne had a detox tea that all the people on my team swore by to help with all sorts of ailments. It was especially supposed to be supportive to the liver and to help your liver detox. Wait a minute, isn't your liver's whole job to detox? Like, isn't that the function of the liver itself? Why are we detoxing the liver? When people are trying to sell you a supplement and they're claiming that it detoxes your liver, we should be raising an eyebrow at that. I truly thought I might be helping this coworker's mom by sharing about the tea with her and even giving her a few samples. Thankfully, she looked a little confused as to why I was giving her the tea for her mom to try, and she said she would have to have her mom ask her oncologist about it before she tried it. I highly doubt the tea even left the building. It was probably thrown into the trash right away, thank God. I'm so embarrassed that I thought this was acceptable. Again, I understand why you would feel that way, but please don't beat yourself up about it. It's all right. You said it yourself. You thought you were helping. You were trying to do what was in somebody's best interest because that's how it was framed to you, most likely, and your actions were not malicious in the moment. Ultimately, I ended up seeing some red flags in the behavior of a lot of the people who were selling Arbonne and decided not to renew as a rep after my year was up. Many of them were incredibly shallow and only were interested in those who were making sales. I was never pressured hardcore to sell, but my direct upline always felt bad about herself because she couldn't advance in the company like she wanted. She did try really hard, but always felt like a failure. A few times her upline even confided in me that my friend wasn't trying hard enough, and I should have joined up under her instead of my friend because my friend wasn't pushing me or coaching me properly to make sales. I didn't like the mind games and mean girl vibes. I actually ended up becoming an esthetician a few years later and learned a lot about skincare products and found out that the Arbonne skincare lines really aren't as natural and groundbreaking as they claim. I now happily support a small woman-owned skincare line that works amazing and doesn't make me feel like I need to capitalize on every relationship as a dollar sign. Thank you for all the binge-worthy content and for spreading the message of anti-MLM. I'm so glad I stumbled upon your videos. Keep up the good fight, Olivia. Thank you, Olivia. What I think is so incredible about this is that it sounds like you're a new viewer. It sounds like perhaps before this you didn't really know about the genre of anti-MLM, or maybe you haven't consumed that much of that kind of content, but your story outlines so many of the hallmarks of the MLM experience that people who are in these companies can absolutely relate to. The joining because you wanted to get a discount on products you already liked, the super predatory team calls, acting in ways that you wouldn't normally act, feeling really pressured to sell things and kind of pushed to the wayside when you're not performing to the level that your upline would hope, and kind of feeling the need to look look for a sales opportunity everywhere you go, in every person you meet. These are the realizations that so many people have once they've left an MLM. So please know you're in good company here. There are so many viewers right now that can relate to exactly what you're saying, and you wrapped up so beautifully in a nice little bow so many of the main issues with this business model. So thank you for writing in your story. This one says, "Hi Hannah, I love your videos. They've really shown me just how horrid MLMs are, though I was beginning to see that for myself. In 2019, I was talking to my fiance, now husband, about trying to get a second job to help pay for our wedding. And one of my friends had overheard and brought up how I should join Beachbody since I was already working out a lot and posting about it, and how it would be doing what I'm already doing but making money doing it. Sound familiar? God, I feel so silly for falling for it. I joined a Zoom and realized that the coach leading it was the significant other of a local celebrity. Her husband is a DJ on the most popular morning radio show in my city and a band member of a punk band that made it pretty big in my high school years. So I felt like this gave her some integrity, and before I know it, I'm a coach. How very cute it was that I thought this would help me pay for my wedding when all it did was cost me more money. They convinced me to sign up my now husband and run his page too. That was the norm and everyone did it, which is sadly true. I was told I had a niche group to market towards because I was getting in shape for my wedding, and I became a huge user of the hashtag sweating for the wedding. I use Shakeology every day, I worked out every day, and I cringe when I see my posts come up in my Facebook memories now. I would get up at 4 to 4:30 a.m. every morning. I would work out, I would post videos of my workout, of course, and then get on a power hour of cold messaging people while on a Zoom call with other members of my team. Then I would get ready for work. I would work my full-time job, come home, and repeat. It was exhausting. I started having an issue with how Beachbody was going when Autumn Calabrese, one of the super trainers in Beachbody, started coming out with workouts like the 80-day obsession, 9-week control freak, etc. As someone with a history of disordered eating and overworking out, these immediately gave me an ick, and I wasn't alone. My upline was upset with a lot of us for not pushing the new programs, and when we all voiced our thoughts about the troublesome titling, she waved it off. I really didn't have anything worth the horror title until 2021. My husband and I found out we were expecting our first child in June of 2021, our daughter being due in 2022. Immediately, my upline was pushing hard for me to now go for a new niche, working out and staying healthy while pregnant. Mind you, at this point, I was lucky to pull myself off the couch after getting home from work. I was so nauseous and tired constantly during the first trimester, and I could not find it in me to work out. I was barely getting through work and life while baking the little person in me. I was already 1 foot out the Beachbody door, but what really solidified it was when my upline got upset when I canceled my Shakeology. There's no research showing if it's okay to use while pregnant, and I didn't want to test it. For anybody not familiar, Shakeology is Beachbody's flagship supplement product. It's a protein shake. Let's see what they've jacked the prices up to now, because I swear to you, they're always increasing the price of this dang thing. So I guarantee it's more expensive now than the last time I checked. Okay, yeah, it's $130 for a 30-day supply now. That's absolutely bananas. $130 for a shake mix that you're gonna have to replace every single month. A lot of Beachbody coaches are on an auto ship program. So I think that's what you're saying, is you decided that you were gonna cancel your Shakeology auto ship, and that made your upline really mad, understandably, because of the way that MLMs are designed to work. Everyone is stacked on top of each other, and so when you are purchasing something like Shakeology, your upline is getting a cut of that commission. Your purchases kind of build a residual income for them. If they can expect that they're getting X amount of dollars off of your Shakeology purchases every month, yeah, that's gonna make them mad if all of a sudden you decide you're not gonna buy it anymore. That's impacting their income. To be fair, I don't have the Beachbody compensation plan in front of me right now, but that is how most MLMs work. When you join an MLM, not only are you becoming a rep yourself to make sales to other people and to earn commission that way, but you're also becoming somebody else's customer. Somebody in the pyramid above you is benefiting off of your purchases. You're not just a salesperson, you are also a customer of Beachbody. So it makes perfect sense why an upline would get upset with you when you start to cancel your orders. Before I found out I was pregnant, I was using an iron-free prenatal since I have a genetic disease/disorder called hemochromatosis, which causes your body to not process iron as it should, causing oversaturation in the organs. Once I became pregnant, my OB wanted to test to see what my iron levels would be while pregnant, so I was already nervous about what I was going to be doing, which is actually going out of my way to take iron. So I went to Facebook to see which brands everyone preferred. My upline saw my post and immediately messaged messaged me saying, "You would be fine if you just use Shakeology. It has everything that prenatals have." I was mind blown that she was pushing this. I reached out in my team group that she wasn't in, and a few other girls fessed up that she had done the same with them, telling them to use Shakeology instead of prenatals. And then when they pushed, she would backstep and say, "Well, of course you should check with your doctor, but just saying." I was already annoyed that she was on to me to post workouts and the lack thereof. To do what I saw was risking my daughter's health by using and pushing the narrative that Shakeology was safe to use while pregnant with no proof, and the way that I saw Beachbody pushing programs that I thought were problematic. So I left. I didn't leave completely empty-handed though, I'll admit. I gained a very supportive group of friends that to this day, even though most of us have left Beachbody, talk every day. It's completely a judgment-free zone, and I adore these ladies more than life itself. I would warn anyone away from Beachbody or any MLM, but definitely Beachbody. They push ideals even now with their rebrand that can lead to EDs, and their super trainers have workouts that can lead to some pretty rough injuries. Plus, the idea of working out every day can itself lead to injuries. I barely run anymore. I ran track in high school and in 2018 ran a half marathon. My knee hurts too much now. I constantly slip a disc in my back. My shoulder hurts pretty consistently, and after talking to an actual personal trainer, I was amazed about the risky workouts that Beachbody uses. I still work out, even with an app. I use the LadderFit app now. Hey, look, a non-MLM fitness app that clearly states their trainer certifications. But I don't feel crushing guilt if I miss a couple days, or heaven forbid, I eat a cookie or 5. Thank you so much for showing the truth about these companies and the scam that they are. We have to revisit this prenatal situation. Your story is running a parallel to me to a Young Living Zoom call that I did. God, it was probably a year ago now, where on that call, the Young Living rep was training her team that they could use the Ningxia Red supplement in place of a prenatal. So I'm going to make the same points I did in that video again here. According to the March of Dimes, here's the 6 most important nutrients to have during pregnancy. It's folic acid, iron, calcium, vitamin D, DHA, and iodine. Okay, great. Let's go look at the nutrition facts for Shakeology and see what they've got going on. Shakeology only has 50% the daily value of folic acid, 22% the daily value of iron, 20% for calcium. It does have 100% for vitamin D, but there is 0 DHA and only 35% for iodine. Shakeology is not a complete prenatal supplement, and I guarantee you almost that if you took this to an OBGYN, they would take one look at it and tell you that this doesn't cut it. Unless your OBGYN is a Beachbody coach and then they want to sell you Shakeology, right? In which case that would be highly unethical in recommending to you. But these nutrients are not a joke. Prenatals are not a sham. I know we poke fun at supplements a lot in these anti-MLM videos, specifically when they pertain to selling supplements, but one of the major times in your life to take supplementation seriously is pregnancy. They're very, very important. For example, folic acid. Pregnant women need 400 micrograms of this daily because it's proven that taking that vitamin in that daily quantity reduces the risk of neural tube defects. Like, there's actual scientific proven reasons that you need these different nutrients in pregnancy. And so for some Beachbody coach looking to make a quick buck off of you by selling you Shakeology to recommend this in place of a prenatal is actually dangerous. Like, that could actually have bad implications for your unborn baby. It's not a joke. You should take it seriously, which it sounds like you did, thankfully. Shakeology only contains half the amount of folic acid you would need in a day. That alone should tell you that this is not a complete prenatal, in the exact same way that the Young Living Ningxia Red supplement was not a complete prenatal and it didn't have any of these things either. This shows to me that people in MLMs are willing to say absolutely whatever they have to get you to buy more stuff. Even if it's not what's best for you, even if there might be harmful implications to that, they don't care. Why would they? As long as you're buying, they're making money. That's what they care about. That's blatant medical misinformation to say that Shakeology can be a prenatal. No, it can't. And anybody would know that if they took 5 seconds to look at the nutrition facts. So thankfully, you did, you know that, but it clearly doesn't dissuade people in MLMs from making false, unfounded health claims, even ones that are super easy to disprove. That is so scary, and I will continue to say this as long as I have to, but do not take medical advice from MLM girlies. They do not know what they're talking about, and they are trying to exploit your health conditions for money. And it sounds like you knew that, and this was a red flag for you, and it ultimately led to your decision to leave the company, which I am so relieved to hear. Good for you. In my opinion, Beachbody, or Body as it's now known, is one of the most toxic companies you can join, so I am very, very glad that you got the heck out of there. This story says, "Hey Hannah, I've sent in a horror story recently where I did not remain anonymous, but in this one I would like to be anonymous, as the woman I'm talking about in this story is someone I sincerely love. I'm 18 and I'm a new mom to a now 3-month-old baby. I got pregnant when I was 17. To any young viewers out there, please do not lead by this example. Anyways, I was 17 and my mom's best friend was over at our house. She came down to my room and gave me her congratulations. I was about 4 months pregnant at this point and she had a gift for me. She stood there and wanted me to open it while she was in my bedroom. I opened it and there was a lavender Young Living oil and a peppermint oil. I mustered up a smile and said thank you, and she said that the oils would help my baby and help me through my pregnancy if I just put the oils directly on my belly. I said thank you and that I was gonna have to give it a try. I wasn't gonna use the oils, but I wanted her to get out of my room. She gave me a pamphlet with lots more oils that she had circled that she thought would be beneficial for me. After about 15 minutes of her telling me all about the oils, she finally left my room. Fast forward to me having had my baby girl and her being about 6 weeks old. My family was getting together with my mom's best friend's family. I was excited because while my mom's friend had given me oils during my pregnancy, she was almost like an aunt to me at this point. I'd known her since I was 10 and I honestly had forgotten about the oils. I was excited to have my mom's friend meet my baby and introduce her to their kids. We get to their house and it reeks of essential oils, which it always did, but babies are more sensitive to that than adults. So I was nervous that my daughter would have a negative reaction, but I didn't say anything. As a new mom, I was and still am very nervous about people being around my baby, and especially nervous about germs. So before anyone held her or anything, I made them wash their hands. Everyone seemed fine with this. Everything was going fine, we were all having a good time, and then I had to run to the bathroom, so I let my mom's friend hold my daughter while I went. When I came out of the bathroom, I saw my mom's friend dripping oils into my baby's belly and in her diaper. I told her to stop, and I ran over to get water and try and rinse the oils off of my daughter. My mom's friend was so confused and asked why it was a big deal, and I told her that putting oils like peppermint onto my baby's diaper could seriously give her a rash down there. I changed her diaper and made sure I wiped her extensively, and she was still crying because I'm sure the bit that had gotten on her was burning her little skin. I packed my diaper bag up and stormed out to my car and left early. Fast forward about an hour and my baby had hives all over her body, and again, as a new mom, my stress level was through the roof. I was able to give her some medicine and put some breast milk on her as like a lotion, and that seemed to help, but I was so upset. When my mom got home, she told me that I was so rude to her friend and that I owed her an apology. I never gave her an apology because I do not owe her that. We moved past it and she's never tried to put oils on my daughter again, but it was such a horrible experience. Absolutely, what a violation of your boundaries as a new mom with a newborn baby. No one should be doing anything to your baby without your explicit permission and knowledge of it, and the fact that she seemed to be like waiting for you to leave the room to go to the bathroom to do this thing to your baby, what is going through her mind? Who does that? Putting undiluted essential oils onto your skin is irritating to adults, never mind a newborn baby. The softest, thinnest, most delicate skin. We should not be putting peppermint oil onto it. And for what? Let's talk about that. What is the purpose? What did she think she was accomplishing by doing that? What baby needs a diaper full of peppermint essential oil? Like, that makes no sense to me. The more I think about it, the more questions I have. What is the purpose? Why did she think it was okay to do that without your permission? And why did it not cross her mind that that would be irritating to newborn skin? The only thing I can think of as rationale as to why she would think this is okay is that people who are in these essential oil MLMs like doTERRA or Young Living, they seem to think that oils can do no wrong and that they can't possibly be bad for anything because they're natural and they come from nature and they're pure. And both of those companies have this marketing strategy where they try and convince their reps that like they are the most pure and they're the best on the market and that any other essential oils are bad and they're just not as quality as their companies, right? doTERRA and Young Living say the same exact thing about their products. You can't both be the best, so which one is it, you know? But in saying that, maybe it didn't even cross her mind that there could be a bad reaction or that this wouldn't be a good thing to do to a baby, because essential oils are like the miracle tincture to fix everything in life, and nothing bad could ever come from using essential oils, right? So it's delusional, but that's the ideology that these people have bought into when they join these companies. But that still doesn't excuse that she did this without your permission, and it still doesn't explain what she thought she was doing. There is no reason to put oils on a baby. I'm sorry, there's just not. Any ailment that a baby is having for whatever reason, there is another solution other than direct undiluted essential oils onto their skin. Come on. on. I am so sorry that this happened to you. I will apologize on her behalf. That was completely uncalled for. And you're right, you do not owe her an apology. And I really respect that you were like, stop that, don't do that. I'm picking up, I'm leaving, and I'm not apologizing for it. Major props to you for that, and I'm wishing you nothing but the best with your new baby. This next story says, hey Hannah, I realized I have a very short story about Cutco/vector marketing, which I don't hear a lot about in the current anti-MLM zeitgeist. For context, I'm also from Washington, east of the mountains, and I do have to say, go Cougs here. Absolutely not. I tolerate none of that. Go Dogs forever and always. What I remember today was something that happened at my high school graduation in June of 2006. Imagine this, 450 high school seniors are declared graduates, they get to throw their hats, the whole group flies out, bursts out the double doors, and standing outside the doors are two people handing envelopes to every fresh graduate walking out. We thought they were something official, so of course we all grabbed one as we passed. When I opened it, I found a recruiting letter for Vector, so I threw it in the trash. Burned into my memory of that day is a view of the surrounding field of students taking pictures with friends and family, and littered on the ground beneath their feet are hundreds of letters from Vector. Did the school administration realize this? Did they ignore it, or worse, endorse it? I have no idea, but what I do know is that the distributor snagged a couple interested parties who spent the summer selling Cutco knives to my friend's parents. The people who handed out the letters in retrospect were despicable. I've never heard anyone else mention this tactic, but I want to warn others to be careful of it. Not even happy events like high school graduation are safe from people willing to victimize others for their own gain. And these people were willing to put fresh adults into financial straits immediately, some of whom had babies on the way, disabled parents to begin to support, or college tuitions to pay in the next year. A year later during college, a friend got a summer job as customer service for Vector in the same region, and I didn't realize who she worked for. Looking for a job myself that summer, I asked if they were hiring. Her only response was, you don't want to work there. She refused to elaborate, but given her 1,000-yard stare, I have to assume she saw some pretty bad days. I also wondered what she went through, but we lost touch before I could find out once I knew more about MLMs. While she and I didn't always see eye to eye on everything, I will always be grateful she protected me from that job, or from myself and my vulnerability, whichever way you want to think about it. Vector marketing is alive and well, lurking in the shadows of legitimacy. Beautifully written short story. So Vector Marketing is the parent company of Cutco. Cutco is the MLM company that sells knives, and they're unique in the sense that they rely really heavily on door-to-door sales, and they're also a bit unique in the sense that they directly, heavily target new graduates straight out of high school. They pitch it as a summer job that you can do before college, or you can even do this as your job. You can become a salesperson and like be your own boss kind of thing. You don't even have to go to school. And you're completely right that I've never heard anything like this, passing out flyers at graduation. I have heard of high school career fairs having a booth for Cutco. I've also heard of Cutco mailing out letters to new graduates in their local area. So they're like receiving something in the mail saying like, you would be a great candidate. You should come and work for Vector Marketing. And the soon to be 18-year-old graduate is like, oh wow, a job offer, that kind of thing. It is so sneaky. But yeah, this is the first story I'm hearing that Cutco people are like staking out a high school graduation and trying to canvass all the new graduates with these flyers. That is wacky. And it's absolutely preying on new graduates who might not know what they want to do after high school. This is like their perfect opportunity to prey on them. I do kind of love this imagery though of everyone taking their graduation photos while stomping on the Cutco flyers. That's kind of incredible. I'm glad to hear that it seems like most people didn't fall for it, but absolutely a warning for any soon-to-be high school graduates or parents of high school graduates, keep an eye out for Cutco, also known as Vector Marketing, which sounds a lot more official. It's not a legitimate job offer. They're being recruited into an MLM company that goes door to door selling knives. Not typically someone's idea of a dream job, right? But in a lot of cases, new grads just don't know any better, and so they end up giving it a shot. Watch out, high schoolers. Cutco is coming for ya. And with that, my friends, it's all the stories I have for you for the 89th MLM Horror Stories video. When I started this series a couple years ago, I never would have dreamed that we would have enough content to make 89 videos out of it, and the sad reality is I have enough stories in my inbox to make 200 more videos. There is absolutely no shortage of terrible experiences with MLM companies out there, and if you have your own and you'd like to have it considered for a video, please go ahead and send it my way. The instructions are in the description box down below, and I can never have too many. And before you go, thanks again to Paired for sponsoring today's video. You can click the link below to get a 7-day free trial plus 25% off Paired Premium. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next one real soon.